You have 60 seconds to ruin a wedding. What do you do? If you are pregnant, stand up at the ceremony and address the groom, saying, "When the hell were you going to tell her about me?" I attended a wedding where the best man's speech opened with a joke about how he had been told to not say anything about skeletons in the groom's closet. Then he paused. There was polite laughter, but then he continued and said, "It's not me mentioning the skeletons in the closet he has to worry about. It's me mentioning some of the pigs that he's had in his bed that he needs to worry about," and looked around for laughs/appreciation. The silence was deafening and the bride and her parents looked like they wanted to murder him. Afterwards the groom looked him in the eye and said to him, "Fucking hell, mate apostrophe ... and walked away, shaking his head. Propose to my partner. Cut the wedding cake before the couple. Hire comedians to make racist jokes when it's a mixed race wedding." That was the most uncomfortable catering job I ever did. If there's at least 100 people there, bring a gorilla and finally settle this. Throw a bunch of cash in groom's face whilst hysterically crying, "No, I'm not going to have an abortion." Vomit on the bride. Definitely not speaking from experience. I go to the DJ and ask them to play Reigns of Castamere. I was at a church wedding once. When the couple got to their vows, the groom was supposed to say, "All that I have I share with you." What he said was, "All that I have I share with you, except for my Ferrari." There was a moment of nervous laughter. The priest paused. And then paused some more. 2 minutes passed in silence. You could have cut the atmosphere with a knife. Then she, the priest, said, "Shall we start again, or shall we just stop?" The now rather pale groom said, "Sorry, I'll start again." The priest's response, "I wasn't asking you. I asking." Bride's name. There was another tense 30 seconds or so, before the bride nodded her agreement and they began their vows again. There was no further messing around. Man, y'all are crazy. A trebuchet loaded with a beehive ought to do it without getting your own shit everywhere. Show up in full Victorian morning dress, weeping loudly. Giving out random condolences, then ask for their hair to be put in a locket for a memento. Remind them they are statistically most likely to murder each other. Harmless fun. Release a badger during the ceremony. Announce that you slept with the bride or groom, and you gave them an STD. Meticulously detail the lineage of both participants and only refer to them by any familial connection found. Nothing ruins a wedding like finding out your third cousins. Start crying hysterically and shout the DNA test has been done, then leave, giving zero context. Follow the bride down the aisle wearing a prettier dress. Accuse the person officiating it of heresy and try and tackle them to the ground to restrain them. I Ross take you Rachel. Just turn up, and let your psycho of a sister have a full-on mental breakdown falsely accusing you and your partner of being on drugs while her friends hold her down on the ground. Revealing that actually yes, all the years of systematic sibling abuse I received was real, and the rumors of her toxic, vile behavior may actually be valid. That if she behaves this way then maybe she does actually hurt the children she teaches in school, and the threatening letters the parents receive may actually be from her. All while her partner is sobbing uncontrollably at the revelation. I didn't need drugs, the euphoria of finally being believed was enough. I was a celebrated wedding photographer at the time too, but she'd rather spend £3,000 on a wedding photographer than ask her brother. Steal the bride's dress, put it on and then sit on the wedding cake. Just give me the tequila. All of it. I can ruin anything quickly as a drunk. Show up wearing white. Bring either the bride or groom's ex as your +1. Block the aisle to film the bride on your phone. Laugh out loud or do a dramatically loud sneeze at the speak now or forever hold your peace part. Crash into the cake or spill red wine on the bride, or manure. Speak up when they ask if anyone objects and then claim that either the bride or groom is already married to someone else. They have to stop everything cold and go check. Edit, this depends on your local jurisdiction and is typically not a thing in the US. Stand up during the vows and say, "You sure about this? We still have that hotel key from Vegas." Then wink at the groom's mom. Uklanyana. Geese. 3 greased hogs labeled 1, 2, and 4. My dad told me a wild story of a work colleague's wedding he attended in the early 1980s. Apparently the groom had recently found out that his bride had been unfaithful, multiple times, with best man. He went through with the ceremony. The way my dad told it to me was this. During the reception, when it came time for the groom's speech, he was all smiles initially, making jokes. Then when it came time to praise his bride he said something along the lines of, "And I recently found out that this slut," points at new wife, "has been sleeping with this twat," points to the best man, "and the only reason I went through with it all was knowing that these pair of twats," points at parents-in-law, whom he'd reportedly never liked, would fucking pay for it. He then walked out, taking a bottle of champagne, leaving his new wife in tears and a very shocked and open-mouthed crowd of attendees, including my dad, in his wake. The groom got the marriage annulled in rapid order. I know. A wild story indeed. Loudly ask the bride if she remembers that time with you and two of you buddies right after her dad walks her down the runaway. Badger in the air ducks. Tell a waiter it's a beautiful wedding but reveal a deep secret about the bride without shutting the goddamn door. Family Guy got this pretty good years ago. Church, all quiet as people are holding their peace. Peter, really? No one's going to say anything? Exhales, genital warts. Play Cotton Eye Joe. A woman's voice from the back of the church. That's my husband. Give the couple each other's Reddit passwords. I write sins not tragedies. Pee on the cake. Release the clowns. Accidentally play the wrong slideshow with all the exes, drunk pics and one questionable vacation photo. According to my ex-wives, my showing up ruined them. Open a can of surströmming. Propose to my partner. My cousin is a narcissist and lives on ruining family events, especially weddings. For my sister's wedding, she spread a rumor and flat out told my sister maybe 2 weeks before the wedding that my sister's fiancé was a pedophile. More recently, my cousin tried to ruin her brother's wedding by standing up in the middle of the celebratory dinner, telling everyone his fiancé, who obviously was at the dinner, was a horrible person and that her brother was making a mistake by marrying her. At my other cousin's wedding, the cousin in question asked me for my opinion about a company I worked for. I told her I agreed with the company, which shouldn't have been a huge surprise since I had worked with them for years. In the middle of that wedding dinner, she yelled for the entire 24-person table to hear, "What are you, an idiot?" She also always physically assaults someone, usually a wedding guest, and throws a screaming tantrum in a public place like the hotel lobby, or the airport. At my brother's wedding, she opted to share an Airbnb with a family friend. My cousin had left an open bag of chips on the counter so the family friend / her roommate for the weekend took a chip. My cousin had melted down, screamed at her and chased her out of the Airbnb in fear for her safety. My cousin's just a peach. Solid wedding ruining track record. BTW, she is 50. So, to ruin a wedding, just invite my cousin. You can even take back 55 of those seconds as bonus time. She works quick. Release 100 rats in the reception hall.